Some games slip under the radar but hide stories and ideas that deserve way more attention. These are titles that didn't get the recognition they should have, yet deliver incredible moments full of emotion and personality. This list is for those who love uncovering hidden gems, games that surprise you when you least expect it. Each one has something unique, whether in narrative, mechanics, or the way it pulls you in. But before we start, drop a comment, which game do you think deserved way more recognition? And hey, if you can, hit that subscribe button. Every new sub helps keep this project alive and brings you more lists like this. Now, get your headphones ready and let's jump into the underrated games that are worth every minute of your time. Road 96 is a journey without a fixed destination, where every decision reshapes the path in unexpected ways. You play as a teenager trying to escape a country in crisis, and anything can happen between the border and where you start. The road changes with each run, introducing new characters, unique stories, and completely different endings. It's an adventure about freedom, risk, and hope with the soul of an indie film. Gameplay revolves around choices and small interactions that make all the difference. You drive, hitch rides, and experience situations that swing from absurd to heartfelt. Sometimes you need to trust strangers. Other times you lie just to survive. No route is ever the same, and even failure becomes part of the story. The game makes you feel the weight of every decision, even the ones that seem insignificant. The visuals are stylish and full of personality, with desert landscapes, forgotten gas stations, and sunsets etched into memory. A vibrant color palette gives the world both freedom and melancholy at once. Each location feels like a silent story about what it once was. It's beautiful, chaotic, and unpredictable, like a real road trip into the unknown. What makes it addictive is the curiosity of what's around the next corner. You never know who you'll meet or what kind of moral dilemma awaits. Road 96 makes you want to replay it, just to see how things would have unfolded had you chosen differently. It's a game about running away, yes, but also about finding yourself along the way. The Pathless is one of the most hypnotic and unique adventures ever made. You step into the role of a hunter in a world overtaken by ancient forces, trying to restore lost balance. The game doesn't guide you with maps or markers, only instinct and the wind. The sense of freedom is total, and every movement feels like part of a dance with the world itself. It's about movement, intuition, and connection. Gameplay blends exploration, puzzles, and an incredibly satisfying movement system. Shooting talismans as you run creates a seamless flow, as if every action is part of a performance. Your eagle companion is always by your side, helping you reach new places and solve environmental puzzles. Battles with corrupted spirits are intense and rhythmic. Controls are precise, rewarding fluidity and skill. The visuals are breathtaking, with forests, valleys, and temples that look like living paintings. Bold colors and striking contrasts enhance the world's mystery. Every location begs to be explored just a little more, and the design captures both calm and vastness at the same time. It's the kind of game that makes you stop just to admire where you are. What really hooks you is the sense of discovery in every step. But Pathless doesn't need urgency to keep you engaged. The joy lies in moving, observing, and mastering the rhythm of the world. Every temple completed feels like a genuine accomplishment. It's a game that grips you quietly with the sheer beauty of silence. The Wolf Among Us throws you headfirst into a noir universe brimming with secrets and twisted morality. Inspired by reimagined fairy tales, it presents a decaying city where classic characters survive far from their happily ever afters. The atmosphere is heavy, and every dialogue carries a dangerous undertone. It's a story that makes you feel the tension of every choice and the weight of every word. Gameplay revolves around investigation, conversations, and decisions that truly matter. Choices shape the story and completely alter your relationships with others. Sometimes patience is your weapon, other times anger is unavoidable. There are gripping chase scenes, fast confrontations, and moments that demand quick reactions. The pacing never falters, keeping you glued to the screen. The visual style is unmistakable, with cel-shaded graphics that feel like a living comic book. Bold colors clash with the city's grime, creating a memorable, gritty aesthetic. The setting is flawless. Every alley, bar, and apartment hides a secret. Everything reinforces the mood of mystery, violence, and decay driving the narrative. What really hooks you is the constant sense that something big and dangerous is just ahead. Revelations hit often, pulling you deeper into lies and bitter truths. The Wolf Among Us is tense, unpredictable, and filled with unforgettable moments. When it ends, you're tempted to replay it all just to see how different choices would shape the story. Sunset Overdrive is pure chaos turned into fun, a wild explosion of color and attitude that throws you into a collapsing city. It all begins when an energy drink mutates the population into ravenous monsters. In the middle of it all, the game hands you complete freedom to turn destruction into entertainment. The humor is sharp, the action is insane, and the energy never stops. It's a game that breaks the rules and laughs at them. Gameplay is built so you're never standing still. Running, grinding, jumping, and shooting all blend into one seamless flow, with rhythm defining victory. The more creative you are, the more the game rewards you, turning boldness into stylish chaos. The arsenal is both absurd and clever, filled with bizarre weapons that feel like extensions of your own humor. Every fight is a rush of adrenaline and improvisation. What truly makes Sunset Overdrive shine is the sensation of speed and freedom. It doesn't want to punish you, it wants to see you create your own spectacle. Missions become opportunities to destroy everything with flair, and the world works like a constantly shifting playground. Every jump and every explosion is tied together by a rhythm that keeps your eyes glued to the chaos. The secret is that it understands what makes games fun at their core. Sunset Overdrive isn't trying to be serious or realistic, it's about mess, rhythm, and pure joy. It's the kind of game you play with a smile on your face because everything clicks with charisma and ease. A love letter to creative chaos and proof that games can be wild, lighthearted, and ridiculously fun. Evil West is the perfect collision of Western grit and nightmare fuel, turning the supernatural into a brutal action show. You take on the role of a monster hunter facing vampires, demons, and grotesque creatures in a filthy, savage world. The story is direct, fast-paced, and tinged with just the right amount of exaggeration. It's Old West brawling infused with gothic horror, made for those who want non-stop carnage. Combat is the beating heart of the game, and it's addictively good. Mixing devastating melee blows with firearms and electric powers, every battle erupts into controlled chaos. Enemies swarm from all sides, and the combo system lets you dictate the pace of destruction. It's straightforward yet satisfying, with clashes that demand reflex and improvisation. When the final enemy drops, the sense of victory is undeniable. What sets Evil West apart is the thrill of the hunt. Each mission feels like stepping into a grim tale, with vampires lurking in the shadows and violence around every corner. The game balances action and atmosphere so well, it hooks you instantly. Every new weapon or ability reshapes combat, and it's impossible not to test everything again just to see the carnage unfold. The pace never falters, and that's why it's so much fun. Evil West channels the spirit of classic action games while hitting with the force of modern design. It's raw, over-the-top, and satisfying in every detail, a game that doesn't try to reinvent the wheel, it just spins it with style and fury. Blood, bullets, and electricity in just the right measure. Before Your Eyes is one of the most emotional and original games ever created. It tells the story of an entire life flashing before your eyes, where each blink literally changes the course of events. The concept is simple, but the impact is devastating. You relive memories, choices, and moments that define who you are. It's impossible to play without feeling the weight of time slipping by. Gameplay revolves around a single gesture, blinking. Every blink pushes time forward, forcing you to move on even when you don't want to leave a moment behind. This creates a raw connection between player and story, making it painfully personal. There's no room to redo decisions, only to live them and face what follows. A simple mechanic, yet unbelievably powerful. What impresses most is how the game turns something so ordinary into pure emotion. Each scene is carefully crafted, shifting between joy, nostalgia, and regret. Moments that seem lighthearted quickly turn heavy, reminding you how life changes in an instant. It's a story about memory and the fear of losing it, told in a way no other game has managed. Before Your Eyes doesn't need combat, puzzles, or complex systems to hold you. It grips you through silence, pauses, and the tiny choices that shape an entire life. When it ends, it's hard not to sit in stunned silence, processing what just happened. It's a game that makes you think, cry, and remember, both what you've lived and what may have slipped away. Murdered Soul Suspect is a supernatural mystery that begins with your own death. You play as a detective tasked with solving your own murder, caught between the world of the living and the dead. The concept is brilliant, and the game uses it to weave an investigation full of twists. Every clue pulls you closer to the truth and to uncovering what's really holding you back. Gameplay mixes exploration and deduction in a calm, deliberate rhythm. You slip through walls, read minds, and interact with lingering spirits. Each case you solve reveals more about the city and its people, slowly unlocking the bigger picture. It's a game that rewards patience and observation, making you feel like a true detective unraveling threads of the unknown. What fascinates most is how it positions you between two worlds, using the supernatural as a tool for investigation. The constant sense of watching but never fully intervening creates eerie tension. It's strange and melancholic, pushing you to accept death while chasing answers. Every revelation hits harder than expected, making the mystery deeply personal. Murdered Soul Suspect is short, direct, and drenched in atmosphere. It delivers something different, a story about closure and redemption told in a unique way. Even with its flaws, it has a soul few games achieve. It's the kind of title remembered not for what it does, but for how it makes you feel. And that's why it deserves to be remembered. Singularity is the kind of game that makes you wonder why more people didn't talk about it. It all begins on a hidden Soviet island, where a scientific experiment tore a hole in time. You arrive to investigate, only to realize the catastrophe never really ended. The story fuses science fiction and paranoia with relentless action, pulling you in through constant tension and unanswered questions. Gameplay is intense, balancing first-person combat with temporal manipulation. You can age enemies, restore crumbling structures, and even alter historical events to solve situations. Every weapon feels tied to the madness of the plot, while the time device changes everything. Battles are creative, demanding quick reflexes and fast thinking. It's action with brains, pushing you to adapt on the fly. What truly drives the game is the constant sense of urgency. Time is both your weapon and your enemy, and each discovery deepens the mystery. Missions evolve at a perfect pace, throwing unexpected twists your way, warped creatures, collapsing timelines, paradoxes that flip everything on its head. Singularity never lets you rest, but it never overwhelms you either. It keeps you tense and curious throughout. Singularity is clever, unpredictable, and packed with ideas that still feel fresh today. It mixes action, horror, and sci-fi with rare confidence, delivering it all with bold personality. It's the kind of game that surprises you when you least expect it and lingers in your thoughts long after. A lost gem in time that deserved to become an entire saga. Sable is calm, silence, and discovery turned into a journey. You control a young woman on her coming-of-age ritual, traveling across vast deserts and forgotten ruins. The world is huge, but never demands haste. It invites you to follow your own pace. Every encounter has meaning, and each conversation brings a small piece of wisdom. It's a story about growing up, stumbling, and understanding the value of the path itself. Gameplay centers on exploration and curiosity. There's no combat or urgency, only the pull to see more. You climb cliffs, help travelers, and ride a gliding bike over dunes and valleys. Quests are simple yet rewarding, and the game always gives you the freedom to choose what to do. It's the kind of experience that grips you precisely because it refuses to rush you. What makes Sable special is the sense of tranquility it stirs. The desert's quiet becomes a constant companion, and every ruin feels like it's holding old memories. The people you meet tell small stories filled with meaning. Emotion comes through subtle gestures, and each discovery carries its own weight. You feel part of something larger without needing every detail explained. Sable is about the joy of being present. There's no hurry, no win condition, only the act of keeping on, traveling, and discovering who you are. A gentle, profound experience that speaks more to the heart than to the controller. A game that reminds you sometimes the most important thing isn't arriving, but appreciating the road and the silence between one destination and the next. The Saboteur mixes boldness and style without apologizing for it. Set during the Nazi occupation, it casts you as an ordinary man who chooses to fight from the shadows. It's a story of revenge and resistance, where every action carries weight and consequence. The plot moves through betrayal, loss, and small acts of courage that spark hope amid chaos. A straightforward tale, but one with soul and relentless momentum. Gameplay blends action and stealth in an organic, addictive way. Scale buildings, sabotage bases, eliminate targets, and vanish before anyone notices. The disguise system creates tense moments, and escapes are all about improvisation. The game lets you act as you wish, methodical or explosive. Every mission invites creativity in the middle of danger. The difference lies in the constant sense of rebellion. The world reacts to what you do, and victory is never easy or clean. Freeing areas brings relief and energy, and the streets come alive as you break the enemy's grip. It feels like a personal fight against something far bigger, which makes everything more engrossing. You play someone who refuses to stay silent, and that's powerful. The Saboteur is one of its era's most underrated titles, and it still feels unique today. It blends humor, anger, and hope inside a setting that breathes tension. Daring, intense, and full of personality, it doesn't need perfection to be memorable. A reminder that resistance can be fun and explosive. House of Ashes is pure tension from start to finish. It opens in the middle of a military operation gone wrong, when a squad is plunged into ruins hidden beneath the desert. What should have been routine becomes a desperate fight for survival. The plot is claustrophobic and full of twists. merging war, mythology, and psychological horror with finesse. It's impossible not to crave what comes next. Gameplay follows the cinematic style of the Dark Pictures series, with choices that determine each character's fate. Your decisions matter more than they seem, and the game loves to throw you into scenarios with no right answer. Quick actions test reflexes and composure, and mistakes are costly. Every second counts, and hesitation can change everything. Distrust makes the whole thing work. No one knows who to rely on, and tension escalates with every line of dialogue. The ruins become a maze of paranoia, and the line between enemy and ally dissolves fast. Fear comes from the shadows as much as from what's right in front of you. It's a horror that grows slowly until it swallows you. House of Ashes understands that true fear lives in choice. It forces decisions under pressure with little information and then makes you live with the aftermath. Intense, unpredictable, and personal, it places you in situations that feel ripped from a real nightmare. A game built to keep you on edge and to make you think twice before stepping into the dark. Sleeping Dogs plunges you into a city that's alive, dangerous, and brimming with secrets. You play an undercover agent trying to balance duty and loyalty in a world where nothing is simple. The story is packed with moral dilemmas, betrayals, and moments of pure tension. Each mission feels like a chapter in an Asian action film, rhythmic, brutal, and emotional. It pulls you in because it makes you feel part of something real. Gameplay is a sharp mix of hand-to-hand combat, shootouts, and insane chases. Fights hit hard, with a moveset that feels more like choreography than brawling. Control is tight, and every combo lands with satisfying weight. Infiltration adds complexity, and the balance between honor and survival never lets up. Everything flows with purpose. What sets Sleeping Dogs apart is its sense of identity. It nails the contrast between street chaos and the protagonist's forced calm. Even the simplest missions carry emotion and consequence. The writing is direct and mature, layered with nuances that make you question what's right. A tale about trust, power, and the cost of getting close to the enemy. Brutal and elegant at once, Sleeping Dogs doesn't try to reinvent the genre, it just does everything with craft and heart. With every brawl and chase, it screams for recognition. A modern classic that deserves to stand among the greats, proving intensity and soul still matter most in a good action game. Mad Max turns desolation and chaos into pure adrenaline. It throws you into a lawless desert where survival hangs on fuel, metal, and will. Everything revolves around the search for redemption in a world wrecked by greed. The narrative is spare, direct, and ruthless, mirroring the brutality of the setting. Loneliness, despair, and fury drive every choice. Gameplay is a spectacle of combat and strategy. Behind the wheel of the magnum opus, your car is both weapon and refuge. Vehicle battles are brutal and precise, every collision and explosion hitting with impact. On foot, melee is heavy and visceral, with enemies that demand rhythm and reads. Progress feels constant, and each upgrade brings real power. What impresses most is the feeling of always being on the brink. Everything's scarce, fuel, ammo, water, and desperation becomes routine. Dunes hide danger and opportunity, and every expedition feels like a bet between life and death. You inhabit someone who's lost everything yet refuses to stop. That stubbornness is what makes it unforgettable. Mad Max is intensity in game form. It understands the joy of a hard road, constant peril, and hard-won victory. Raw, dirty, and tangible, as if the whole world might collapse with every mission. One of the generation's most underrated titles, and a reminder that sometimes madness is the only way to survive. Until then, starts small but grows with every minute. You live the routine of an ordinary student dealing with friendships, uncertainty, and the weight of the future. Everything feels light until tiny fractures in reality appear. The tone shifts and the everyday turns mysterious and unsettling. A story about time, loss, and the things that slip away unnoticed. Gameplay is simple yet meaningful. You talk, make choices, and notice the subtleties of daily life as the world begins to unravel. Every interaction, no matter how small, has purpose. The pace is calm, but unease rises with each new clue. Curiosity keeps you locked in, trying to grasp what's really happening. Its pull comes from the contrast between normality and strangeness. The game builds empathy through the ordinary, so when the impossible intrudes, it hits harder. Conversations feel honest, and silence speaks as loudly as words. The story peels back in layers until nothing seems certain. It shines inside that discomfort. Until Then is about memories, regrets, and the small decisions that change everything. It doesn't need action to make you tense, only feeling and curiosity. That sense of being on the verge of understanding, but never fully, is what holds you. a sensitive, mysterious, and deep game about time and how it slips through our fingers without warning. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy understands perfectly what it means to be part of an imperfect crew. The story is chaos, friendship, and second chances, with pacing that never lets up. From the first moments, you're thrown into arguments, jokes, and big decisions. It's fun, heartfelt, and packed with scenes that balance humor and heart. A game that makes you laugh and care at the same time. Gameplay is energetic and inventive. Each member has unique abilities, and combat hinges on knowing when and how to use them. Team synergy is everything. It's not about raw power, but working together. The pace is dynamic, with hectic fights, improvised dialogue, and choices that reshape relationships. Action with soul and intent. The charm lies in how human each hero feels, flawed, stubborn, and hilarious, which makes them real. Conversations flow naturally, and you feel the weight of choices and mistakes. Even during the jokes, there's always emotion underneath. The story balances drama and levity in a way action games rarely manage. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is fun with heart, a game that knows the value of connection. Saving the universe matters, but caring for the people beside you matters more. Every line, argument, and punchline serves a purpose. Charisma, emotion, and chaos in perfect harmony, the kind of adventure you finish smiling and miss right away. Ryse, Son of Rome is grand, brutal, and cinematic from start to finish. It places you at the heart of the Roman Empire amid war, betrayal, and a search for honor. Everything is told with intensity, the battles playing like scenes from a historical epic. You feel the weight of loyalty and the cost of vengeance as the empire crumbles around you. Glory, sacrifice, and the price of fighting for something greater than yourself. Gameplay centers on melee combat with impeccably choreographed strikes and executions. Each encounter is tense, strategic, and visually striking, demanding rhythm and precision. Defense and counterattacks create a near-hypnotic cadence where mistakes are costly. Large-scale clashes hit hard, and the sense of standing in a real battlefield never fades. Combat with heft and purpose. Its strength is scale. Every mission throws you into a fresh warfront, marches, ambushes, and set pieces staged to take your breath away. Pacing is firm, and transitions between story and action feel natural. Command feels tangible, and immersion comes from the pressure of leading and surviving at once, like living inside a Roman legend. Ryse is bold and memorable, unafraid to be theatrical. It fuses drama and brutality into a short, powerful journey. Every fight lingers, and every victory leaves scars. A tribute to the glory and tragedy of ancient warriors, and one of the generation's most underrated titles. Telltale's Batman is one of the most human, darkest takes on the hero ever made. It goes beyond the mask, showing the burden of being Bruce Wayne and how choices matter more than punches. The story weaves politics, corruption, and morality brilliantly, turning every decision into a real dilemma. It's a narrative that forces you to think, not just react. Here, being a hero is never simple. Gameplay sticks to Telltale's signature style, focused on choices, investigation, and carefully staged tension. Every decision directly impacts your relationships with allies and enemies, and the game makes you feel the weight of each act. Action sequences are brief but emotionally charged. Everything revolves around who you choose to be, the vigilante or the man behind the mask. What sets it apart is how it explores Batman's own flaws. He makes mistakes, doubts himself, and suffers for what he does, and that makes him human. Dialogue is loaded with ambiguity, and the twists surprise even those who know the character by heart. The game doesn't treat him as a symbol, but as someone broken trying to do what's right. It's bold and unforgettable because of it. Telltale's Batman is tense, emotional, and sharp. It turns the myth into a person and shows that the real enemy may be in your own head. The choices are tough, and every path feels heavy with consequence. A game that grips you through writing rather than action. A story about guilt, choice, and the price of wearing a mask for too long. Prey is one of the smartest, most underrated sci-fi games in years. You're placed aboard an isolated space station where an experiment has gone terribly wrong. What begins as an investigation quickly becomes a fight for survival against creatures that defy logic. It's a game about paranoia and identity, where even nearby objects might be enemies in disguise. The danger never lets up, and the mystery deepens with every step. Gameplay is dense and full of possibilities. You can take foes head-on, rely on improvised weapons, or tap into alien powers to manipulate the environment. There's always more than one solution, and the game rewards thinking outside the box. The freedom of approach is remarkable, with systems that interlock naturally. Creativity and survival walk side by side. What makes Prey special is its atmosphere. Every corridor hides a secret, and the sense of isolation grows over time. The story makes you question who you really are and what's actually happening. It plays with your mind, blending reality and illusion until you're no longer sure whom to trust. Tense, unpredictable, and meticulous in every narrative detail. Prey is complex, absorbing, and full of personality. It makes you think while keeping you on edge, and each discovery reframes everything you've seen. It doesn't need urgency, only your attention and curiosity. A game that proves strong ideas matter more than explosions, and that true horror is losing control of your body and mind. The Invincible is philosophical sci-fi, a game that turns curiosity into unease. It starts with a rescue mission on a mysterious planet where nothing is quite what it seems. Slowly, you uncover signs of a tragedy buried beneath dust and silence. The pace is calm, but the suspense swells with each new find. A narrative about science, humanity, and the limits of exploration. Gameplay focuses on exploration and observation, with interactions that reward a keen eye. You analyze equipment, recordings, and clues left by a missing crew. The game never rushes you. It invites you to investigate and reflect. Choices nudge small details of the journey, and the quiet between actions becomes part of the experience. Subtle tension, not speed, keeps you engaged. The most striking part is how the Invincible makes you question everything. The line between curiosity and scientific arrogance becomes the spine of the plot, and each discovery carries moral weight. It offers no easy answers, only uncomfortable questions. It places you before the unknown and watches how you respond. That persistent mystery and powerlessness is what makes it unforgettable. Calm, tense, and mesmerizing, The Invincible speaks about the cost of exploration and our insistence on challenging what we don't understand. It grows slowly, then lodges in your mind. Every step is a doubt, every reveal a quiet blow, a game for those who like to think and to get lost in the emptiness between the stars. A Plague Tale: Requiem is a painful journey about love, fear, and survival. The story continues to follow two siblings trying to escape a collapsing world where plague and human cruelty walk side by side. It's intense, full of moments where hope seems to fade. Every line carries real emotion, and their bond is the heart of it all, a tale of sacrifice and fighting for an impossible future. Gameplay mixes stealth, strategy, and desperation. Each encounter is a taut puzzle where any mistake can be your last. Using the environment is essential, and the game always pushes you to think before acting. Chase sequences are suffocating and expertly staged. It doesn't grant power, it makes you feel vulnerable at all times. What impresses most is the emotional cadence. It doesn't just shock or scare, it makes you care. Characters change under the weight of pain and hard choices, which makes every decision heavier. It's about surviving, but also about what's worth preserving when everything falls apart. Each chapter blends hope and despair in a way that keeps you glued to the end. Requiem is a gut punch disguised as an adventure. It moves you, challenges you, and makes you think about how far someone can go for love. Few games balance narrative and gameplay with such force. Dense, human, unforgettable, the kind that leaves scars after the credits roll. RoboCop: Rogue City is a pitch-perfect return of an 80s sci-fi icon. You're back on Detroit's decaying streets in a future where justice is commodified and crime runs everything. The story blends nostalgia with social critique, unafraid to be blunt. It's brutal, ironic, and charged with that gritty, metallic energy that fits the character. A true rebirth of the Man in Steel. Gameplay is heavy, deliberate, and powerful, exactly as it should be. Every step lands like a thud. Every shot booms like thunder. You're not agile, you're relentless. The game makes you feel the armor's weight, the weapon's force, and the cold logic of a law enforcer with no time for niceties. Patrols, pursuits, and gang showdowns turn the city into a constant battleground. Its most compelling angle is the man versus machine contrast. The script shows the inner conflict of someone trying to hold on to humanity while being treated as a tool. Decisions carry unexpected moral weight, and conversations with civilians inject humanity into the chaos. Violent, yes, but reflective, questioning the line between duty and empathy. RoboCop is more than an action game. It's a tribute to an era and a meditation on power. Brutality, humor, and tragedy mix with the confidence of a project that knows exactly what it is. Bold, nostalgic, and modern at once. It's gripping, intense, and hard to put down, the kind of game that reminds you why this character marked generations. Eriksholm: The Stolen Dream wins you over with atmosphere and heart. Set in a harbor city full of secrets, it blends drama, intrigue, and adventure with rare finesse. The story follows a young woman searching for answers in a world split between oppression and hope. Told with sensitivity and steady rhythm, it draws you to every character. a narrative about courage, sacrifice, and empathy's quiet power. Gameplay mixes exploration, puzzles, and choices that shape the journey. Every place holds a piece of the larger mystery, and the game rewards attention to detail. Solving problems takes logic and compassion. Understanding people matters as much as opening doors. The pace is gentle but full of discoveries, and each decision truly feels meaningful. Nothing is rushed, everything serves the story. What makes Eriksholm special is the humanity permeating every moment. Silence speaks as loudly as dialogue, and the weight of loss sits alongside small personal victories. Emotion builds subtly, without excess, letting you absorb everything in your own time. There's beauty in the everyday, and strength in fragile persistence, melancholic and hopeful. Eriksholm is about finding light in the darkest places. It makes you reflect on choice, destiny, and what's truly worth protecting. Delicate, thoughtful, and emotional, it proves great stories don't need perfect heroes, only people willing to keep going. A powerful closer for anyone who loves narratives with soul and heart. And tell me in the comments, which of these games surprised you most and deserves a chance? And if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and subscribe. It helps a ton to keep this project going so we can uncover even more hidden gems together. And check out the video popping up on the side with more games worth your time. See you there, happy gaming, and see you tomorrow.